Hello everyone, welcome to another one of our app webinars, and this one is focused on independent judging. The issue in ARV of self-judging versus independent judging is some consider it controversial. I frankly just consider it a matter of choice. There are many good viewers out there who use independent and many who use self-judging, and they have high hit rates. But some just seem to fit better with some people than with others. And here we're now going to get into doing the independent judging with the WE online protocol. So that's the agenda. What we will be doing is actually making a prediction for a specific game over the weekend. I chose it in advance just because it was convenient to do so. So it's an NFL game. And today we will do the remote viewing, and then each of you will also do independent judging of someone else's transcript, your partner. And then on Monday, we'll do the all-important feedback session. Now, I'm not, everybody here, and this is for people who are already familiar with ARV, but I want to put this in what I think is the important context and in fact get you in a way ready for your remote viewing session. You are going to be the remote viewer today. You're going to be generating a transcript to describe a target that you're going to see Monday. Now, it's you that are connecting up with yourself. This is precognition because the target has not been decided on, and it's also telepathy because it's mind to mind. But the beautiful part is it's mind to mind with yourself. And you need to really kind of get that. There are not much else involved but you in the remote viewing session and the feedback session. People will give lots of reasons for why they don't do well, bad pictures, this or that, whatever other stuff going on. And all of that, in fact, is true, especially if you believe it. But this is a skill which, if you've been around a while, you've successfully done it. When you get one of those amazing sessions, the issue is how, in fact, do we do it more often? Because the hits feel so good. So the perspective here is that the feedback session is causing entanglement of information, if you will, with the remote viewing session at early times. And you need to get that, not intellectually. All I can do is talk to the intellect, but you've got to communicate that down to like your subconscious, because that's the communication channel that allows this. Certainly the intellect, just sending information back with your intellect, you wouldn't have the slightest idea how to do that. And yet it's done all the time. So it's working on this communication channel. That's what we are really all about, those of us who stay in this area. And one of the things which we've learned about communication channels is the thing which apparently picks up first and maybe best are these things called gestalts. And that's the big picture idea. I mean, here, if you look at this screen, the skalt here are sort of these picture of the minds and the you, the thing that gets you first, not the fine details. not the individual words or anything like that. It's the first image, the big picture, the gestalt. If you look at a photograph of some sort, the first thing that gets you might be a mountain. It might be there's a lot of water. It might be a sailboat, but it won't be that fact that there are 2 sails or 3 sails. It's the fact that it might be a boat on the water. It's the first impressions that you get. And then in later, and you certainly get this as well, but it tends to come in after the gestalts. You get all these other kinds of things: geometry, colors, texture, sound, smells, tastes, emotions. So this is the stuff that you're going to be putting in your remote viewing session, which comes from the feedback session. So as you've heard me say, precog begins with the feedback session. But what we're talking about here now is the judging. Now the judging is really extremely important, at least as important as the other sessions. They're all important sessions, and the whole prediction involves all of them. The judging is when you actually decide whether or not there's a wagerable prediction. And often, you know, how good. If it's a really good match, you might feel more comfortable than if it's marginal, for example. So, and that comes in between these two, and that's a separate session, mostly totally independent of the remote viewing itself and the feedback itself. But we live in a real world where, you know, we remember things, and so and we have seen entanglements. A lot of what we call displacement indeed comes from this session, whether it's self-judged or independent judged. Now, self-judging, the viewer does the analysis, the judging himself, very straightforward, gets to see the possible choices and makes a decision. Independent judging is really just the same, except and we're going to do this, except the transcript of the remote viewer is passed on to the judge. So if you're physically in the same place, it's trivial. We living in an internet world, it's almost as trivial, because all we have to do is take a picture of it, or one way or another transmit it via an email attachment to whoever is going to be our judge. And that, in fact, is going to be what we're going to do today. So what I would like to do is set up teams, and the idea of the team will be that each of you will do a remote viewing session, and then you will hand on to your partner your transcript to do the judging. So this allows each of you to do a remote viewing session, and each of you to do and be an independent judge. So really it's actually rather straightforward, but because of this, of course, we'll need 2 separate coordinates. So these will be totally separate, and what I've done is set up a standard WE tasking. I think all of you are familiar with WE. Some are newbies. Lori, how familiar are you with WE? Just affects the words I say.
Yeah, I've been doing remote viewing, but I stopped maybe like a month or 2 ago.
Okay, and have you used this WE? Have you used the WE protocol?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I'm on Coord. It's K-A-R-B.
Yes. Okay. Terrific.
And Marty, all I've done is just watched some of the videos, and I do have the WE online page up accessible. But,
okay. Okay.
So I know the stages, but I actually haven't done it once.
Yes. Well, and you won't actually do it here, but I'm going to just urge you to and show you how. Because you'll see, for example, in WE, you'll get an email just like this. And I set this up as the admin person, and notice this is to the webinar workshop as opposed to Carve or some other group that you might be in. And then different users would click here, and this is where you would get your coordinate. Now in WE, each user has a unique coordinate, and that goes to a unique pair of potential targets, and they get a unique target, period. So each coordinate is associated with a unique target. So this is the start of it. The next thing that happens is you put your, and this is the way you get a unique target, is you put your email address in here, and you can choose one or two coordinates. We're going to choose the one coordinate option here, so that each person would get their own unique coordinate. Now, the way I've set this up, because this is a group webinar, we're not just doing it with two people, is I have gone in with one name, Marty at p-i-a.com, and then like most people, I have a second email address, the M. Rosenblatt email address. So notice under the Marty address, I received this coordinate. Under the M. Rosenblatt, I received this coordinate. These are entirely independent in terms of the target that they have, randomly chosen and all that. However, they're both connected to the same game that we're going to be predicting on Sunday. So we will be able then to get two independent predictions using this approach. And let's just jump in now, and let me show you what the idea here is. Oh, okay, we just got a fifth person. Here's the way I would like to proceed. You saw that I have two names here, okay, with their appropriate coordinates. What I want to do now is set up teams where I'll have your email addresses, and you will then be one team. On one side, whoever is here will do this coordinate, the other person will do this coordinate, and then we will switch, and I'll show you how to do that later. So the first step is to simply get the email addresses here, and even though I can see them, I don't want to have to type them. Do any of you have preferences? Did you come thinking you would like to be with someone in particular?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So maybe and all of you want to do both a remote viewing session and a judging session, right? Right.
Sure.
Okay, so I don't know how to do this, except maybe we'll just pair them in the order I see them here. So Eva, why don't you all send me your email addresses in the chat box so I can then copy them in here, and I'm just going to pair them up in this order. Okay. Oh, okay, Eva. Fair enough. You're welcome to stay and listen and watch, and I know you won't be able to participate, so that's fine. Hello, and thanks for checking in. Okay, so let's do John with Julie. There you go. So there's John. Yeah. And here's Julie. So there's one. And then we have Lori. Perfect. Then we have Ted. Okay. So we have two duos. And let me save that. Okay.
Marty?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I made mine confusing, and I'm sorry. There is a space. My email address is the second half. That first part is just
Oh,
me.
I see. You put in Julie. No problem.
Yeah, pop off Julie.
Yeah, no problem. In fact, I know that, but I obviously am not concentrating on that stuff. There you go. Okay, so we're about to go into remote viewing. John and Lori, you will use, and you can even get out your paper now and put on the top of it this coordinate. You are going to be doing this coordinate right here. I try not to say coordinates out loud because I would like you to, because it vibrates within you and you can do the same thing in feedback time. I consider that to be a pretty good beacon to get to the feedback session. Okay, and Julie and Ted, you will be doing this coordinate. So you can get out your sheet of paper and this is, I just put it here if for no other reason. Some people like to make their own, but it's sort of a reminder of all the kinds of things remote viewers get. And again, gestalts and sketches, of course. Very often the gestalt comes in the form of sketches, but sometimes just in words. But right now, you should be putting your name and the date and time and the coordinate really at the top. When you actually start after the cool down is when you usually do it here. But at the top, you just get it on the page for reference. Okay, so, I mean, unless there are any questions, you have an idea of what we're about here. And
Are you going to repeat those coordinates again? I only got mine partly recorded.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I went too fast. Sure, of course. Here you go.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you know, as always, you have a life before you do remote viewing. You have a life after you do your remote viewing sessions. Right now, we're talking about independent judging, and we're talking about, you know, remote viewing in general, gestalt. Right now, when you get into your remote viewing session and you have your coordinate, you drop all of that. What you're beginning to do now is just totally getting into your cue. You're beginning to relax, and you know what your task is, to describe and sketch your feedback target. Describe and sketch your feedback target. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes for your RV session after a cool down. Some of you may want to cool down on your own. That's fine. I will do one for those of you who want to stay with me. And at the end of the cool down, I will do a count, which will be 4, 3, 2, 1, describe. And your communication channel will be open and you will receive information concerning your feedback target and put that down on your transcript. Okay, beginning to relax. This cool down, and Joe McMonagle considers it obviously to be very important, 75% of the discipline. And that makes sense because it's right now that you're opening up that communication channel. You're going to get rid of the chatter. So let's just begin to relax. To close your eyes. Just get yourself comfortable right here, right now. Just focus on your breathing. Just a good way to let go of everything else. Yeah. Let everything else float away. Focus on your breathing. Become more aware of the quiet of your inner world. Yeah, relax. Move your consciousness to a quiet, peaceful place inside you. It's like a sanctuary. Yeah, it's there. It's safe, filled with love. Feel that. It feels good. It's from here where your communication channel resides. This communication channel is connected to everything through your sub. Feels good. Your sub has access to your target. Reinforce your intention to describe your feedback target. Expect to see a great match during your feedback session. Move to that feedback session now. Just be there in general. Feel that you're there. Relax. Witness what your sub provides. 4, 3, 2, 1. Describe. 20 seconds or so to go. Get another precept. Okay. Come on back to your normal state. Maybe stretch a little. Be sure to write end or EOS on the bottom of your transcript, indicating end of session. Okay, how we doing? Like you just completed a remote viewing session, right? Okay.
Marty, did I get that right, that that was about 10 minutes for cool down and 5 minutes for describing the session?
Well, I did a cool down. I don't know how long it took, but then I left 10 minutes of quiet time.
Okay.
So I don't know how you did it. You did a session though, right?
Oh, yeah, well, I put, turned the headset and mic down. I turned away and put on my own RV music and did
Okay,
that
good.
for 10 minutes because I heard you say take 10 minutes for the cool down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you
at
just missed the cool down that I did. That's fine. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good.
I would have taken another 5 minutes to do my description, but no worries. We'll go with what we got.
Exactly. Yeah, no, because I just spent, I don't know how long, maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes doing my own cool down. So that's why you went a little longer
Okay.
from your perception.
I could spend an hour in that
I know.
space.
A lot of people, I know, it's a wonderful space, isn't it? It feels so good. But a lot of people, and how about the rest of you? Is 10 minutes too short? Well, John, I know it was for you. You like longer sessions too. Yeah, but right. Anyway, mostly we're trying to show how independent judging works, and you get practice at doing short, John, so you too. Okay, so now let's go to the next step. I don't know. We've got graphics here, right? We're about to go into analysis judging. This is mostly intellectual, but people always should be open to getting some intuitive information that feels right. We had a major presentation done by John Herlosky, and he introduced something called the NAG that works well for him, which is an intuitive signal that maybe he hasn't quite done the judging as well as he should, or he ought to look again. So just be open while you're doing your judging to getting, information from the communication channel, your higher self, however, you look at this. But, we know that there's something bigger out there that's providing the information. I alone know the contents of this envelope, our skeptic and our remote viewer. Charcoal drawing of a woodchuck eating a small orange. Nice try, you little fraud, but that's a long way from an ink drawing of a beaver eating a tangerine. Okay, the point there, which I'm just sensitizing you to, hopefully again, is that at least none of us yet that I know of are 100% accurate. Their transcripts are not right on. In fact, one of the reasons for doing this work is to learn how that communication channel really works, how the matrix, the universe of collective consciousness, through the sub communicates with what is received by your conscious mind. I mean, your conscious mind is only in the here and now. What you put down on your transcript was stuff received by your conscious mind, but it came from someplace else. And that's the communication channel, and we see the subconscious as being the intermediary, one way of looking at it. You'll find that it uses analogies, it uses just all kinds of approaches to give you information. It really wants to. I mean, it's your friend, but metaphors are common. Things which are similar are common. Now, I'm reminding you of this so we can now go and transfer. The next step was, remember I put in 2 email addresses. Each of you now got associated with one of these coordinates or another. If you're at home doing this with your partner, what you would have to do now is transfer your transcript to your partner, and then your partner would upload it and do the judging. Now, so let's make sure you understand that, because that's about what we're going to do. We're not doing it on the internet, but I want you to understand how you could do it with a partner. And it's not really very difficult. You know, if you were 3677, this was your coordinate, and you don't want to self-judge, you give it to somebody else. They would see that coordinate. They would then, though, come back in as you. So you would give them your email address. So when they do this and they submit it, they have to get to this page under your email address. So I think we can make that a little clearer by doing it in this way. Once the transcript, so the other person would come back, say in here, and upload the transcript, the next page that comes up looks just like this, where I've blanked out the 2 potential photo sites that the judge has to judge against. And that's the judge's job. And the judge ultimately comes up with a TAR confidence ranking between 0 and 7. Now, all of you have some familiarity with that already. So what we're going to do now is the equivalent, what I have done on, remember this spreadsheet, and then I have set up while you are doing your, and I want to make 100% sure this is accurate, and I want you to make sure it's accurate because it'll show that you understand this. When I'm trying to get the other email over here. Okay. So, John and Lori, you did this coordinate, correct? Therefore, if it's going to be independently judged, it needs to go to somebody else. So I am sending this, it's the equivalent of what's under here, okay, to John and Lori, because they are your judges. So they're going to have the, I'm trying to make this clear, and I think I'm making it more complicated. You are going to have to send your transcripts to them, as I indicated, and they will be able to judge it because they are getting the appropriate page that is for that number. They will see that. They will see let's just make sure I did this right. This is the first time I've ever done this on the internet, and I want to be 100% sure, but I want to make sure you're also 100% sure. Okay, and it looks like I might have done this wrong, so I'm glad. Okay, so oh yeah, no, this is okay. I'm sending to John. You guys get this? I'm sending you the 672 transcripts, and Julie and Ted should also send to you their transcripts because they will have on it the 672, just like this one. Do you get that? I mean, this is where the independent judging comes from. Julie?
I don't understand that.
Okay, Julie and Ted, you guys need to send, Julie, you need to send your transcript to John.
Yes, I've done that.
Okay, Ted, you send your transcript to Lori.
Got it.
Okay.
Not to Lori and John?
No, just to Lori. I can see where
Okay.
you would get confused.
Sure, step 1, 2, 3, that works really well, one step at a time.
Okay. John, you do your transcript to Julie, and Lori, you send your transcript to Ted. Okay? And you guys have received all that? So now, before you can judge, you have to have what the two choices are to judge against. And I don't want you to see the ones that are appropriate for your coordinate. So I am sending to John and Lori the 672, which is not their coordinates. It's the one that you're sending off. So I just did that. And then I will find the other one. If I can. Having so many screens are causing a problem. Now sending off to Julie and Ted 3677. So please verify for me that what each of you should have is a transcript from your partner, and now you should have the two possible photo sites with that coordinate under it, because these are the potential photo sites. One of these will be the target for your coordinate.
Yes, I've received everything I need.
Okay.
I haven't received anything.
From anybody?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
Yeah, this is Lori. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to send it because it's a new computer and I haven't been practicing it.
Okay.
My husband teach me because he doesn't know how to do it yet either. I mean, he's done it a couple of times, but he hasn't taught it to me. Sorry.
Okay. No.
Just leave me out.
I was afraid this was going to happen, and I have you got the picture, Ted, right?
Not so far, but let me check again.
You get a picture from me, I can send it.
No, you said you didn't send it, but from me. Because what I'm now going to suggest is that, Lori, you call Ted on the phone and just describe your transcript to him and your sketches.
Sure.
Since he's your judge. Lori, are you okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm in Canada. Does that affect you, Lori?
Pardon me?
I'm in Canada. Does that affect you?
No, I think I have free, phone calls anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marty, I got your pictures.
Okay, good. Okay, so Ted, Lori will call you, and Lori, did you receive both things from Ted? Because you have to, we need some time. You have to go both ways here.
All right, I'm going to minus you out and look in my email, okay?
Okay.
That, yeah, I don't want to lose you. Hold on.
Okay. I was going to suggest, as you said, maybe one step at a time. Lori, she should, Lori, are you there?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I am. Can
You
you
know
hear
what
me?
I'm going to suggest, just, to do one step at a time here, is why don't you call Ted now and take care of his judging of you, and then when you're done, come on back online, and then we'll do it the other way around so that you can judge his in case you have any questions about that.
Okay, all right.
Lori, do you see my phone number in chat?
Oh gosh. Can you just tell me it? Because I don't know how to get you back. I don't know where to
Chat
go.
box, yeah, okay. Yeah, just write it down. 705-789-4443.
705-789-4443.
Okay, good.
That's right.
All right.
I'll mute my microphone just for the moment while we're having a conversation.
Yeah, and then just get back on when you're ready. Okay, John and Julie, how are you two guys doing?
Good. It's kind of pixelated, but it seems to me that it's very obvious to one picture.
That's terrific. Okay, now, the next thing I wanted to actually do, you guys know the TARG scale. I was going to suggest a new way of judging because I wanted to see, it's kind of what I've now been doing, to come up with the final confidence ranking, which I'm then going to ask you to put in the chat box. Okay, so the
Oh, hi, it's Lori Golden. Okay,
okay, so this is the new approach. I may have to repeat it. I think Lori and Ted presumably are doing the phone conversation. But you two, it's a combination of the TARG and Joe McMonagle's approach. And it really is more changing the emphasis a little bit. Joe, and I've come to believe this, really puts gestalts very high on his judging list. He gives it 50% of the value in the way he judges. And in other words, if you don't get gestalts, your total score for him, and he goes on a 100% scale, would at most be 50%. You would hardly ever get a tradable thing if you didn't get gestalts. But he's willing to give you half a point for gestalt. Plus he recognizes that there are multiple gestalts are possible. And so he ends off on the whole transcript giving kind of like a fraction for the gestalts. And then he goes ahead and does the kind of matches that we're pretty much used to doing, where you mark either a 0 or 1 or maybe a half and then total up the total precepts, which is kind of standard. What I'm going to suggest is that we combine those. You start with the TARG approach, where you do come up with the ratio of the precepts that you get correct to the total available, and you get that ratio. And I'm a believer now that if you don't have 50%, just in the targ approach, you can't get to 3.5. So if you're over 50%, then you start, you know, if it's a lot over, I suspect you'll get some of this unambiguous and things like that. If in fact, so you come up with kind of a tentative CR based on this, which is pretty much the normal approach. Some people don't actually do the counting, but I really recommend they do because you want to look at every single precept. And with the sketches, they often have multiple precepts, built in them. And then the last stage is where Joe's idea comes in, based on how well the gestalts were matched. You might increase or decrease that. And this is also where a judgment comes in. So, does that make kind of sense to you, John, Julie?
Yeah, we can give it a try and see.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering is, the one I'm looking at is pixelated. The drawing, the first page, ain't no doubt.
The drawing
On the second,
okay.
correct. On the second page, I can see some words. I cannot see all words. Is it possible to do a real quick rundown with John on?
Do you know what you can do? John, are you there? John? No, he's probably judging yours. When John comes back, what I'm going to suggest is, you know how we can do private chat? He can, in the chat box, put those words.
Oh, okay.
And then
I can see some of the words. I cannot see all of them. And it looks like the words that I can read, they're on. They match the drawing, they match one of the photo
okay,
sites.
it's pretty clear which way you want to go.
Oh, yeah.
But let's get him to put, do you see the chat box? You might even send him a chat, and there's a way of doing private chat. Do you see that? It's sort of cool. If you go to the chat box, underneath, there's everybody's name. Oh, okay. Okay, John, but if you're hearing me, could you send the words? Julie's having a hard time
Oh, I see, yes.
reading all the words. So just do a private chat to her with the words, okay? Okay, so he'll do that.
Yeah.
And then the final step that I'd like you all to do and I don't know what the status of Gloria, but we're doing independent judging here. So you sent the transcript to your partner. You're judging your partner's transcript.
Hey, Marty.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me now, finally.
Yeah. Okay.
Can John just tell me what?
Send another picture. Isn't that easier?
Oh, sure. The first page is absolutely clear as a bell. It's the second page, textures, colors, smells. I can read some of the words, and my guess is, yeah, some of the words aren't coming through so clear.
So I'm suggesting that you just do a private chat. You know how you can just chat to one person? Just so
yeah, or else I can just, if he sends a higher resolution shot of the second page, I can read it easily.
Oh, either one, or just put the words in there. Whatever easier for you, John.
Yeah, I'm sending another picture right now. It'll take a minute.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, you know, I can see, we put everything online, but I can see where people who listen to these really do have to do fast forwards. But they can be doing it in parallel with the transcript. And I know some people have done that already. Norm's done that several times. He's done whole predictions, not knowing the outcome, even though it happened. And he was very happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah, the theories that they kind of teach would suggest that
Yep.
time is not the an element that could harm it. That it's viable no matter when you do it.
Right. And so now what I need, and Julie, it sounds like you're pretty close, is for you, I need simply an A. I want the highest one, and then it's CR. So you'll
Okay, I'm looking right now for at John's.
Okay. Yeah. So you will actually give it for 367, and you're going to give me either A or B.
Yeah, you might do this again. Yes. Okay.
Just to put it out there, Julie, my first page is it's just right after I do my cooldown. It's just the images that came in during cooldown. I wasn't even before I even start remote viewing. Isn't that funny?
Well, yeah. Well, isn't it Marty teaches gut response at the very beginning? I think when you see it, you'll see it's like a big fat duh to one side.
So it's going to be easy for you, huh? Okay, well, you give me the A or B, and then what CR you would give. You see it at the bottom here? So for 367, give me what A goes along with John's and what CR you would give it.
Okay, so let me...
And you can just put that in the chat box.
Okay, yes.
And then...
I'm back from Lori on my phone call.
Okay, good. Good. And John, you'll do the same thing for 672, and I'll put that number there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. So...
Marty, do I get that I'm supposed to put the 367,769 for Lori and what side and the confidence in the chat?
Right, A, and let's just call those photo sites. They're not quite sides, but photo site A or B, and what confidence level. Okay, so you finished judging hers.
Yeah, I judged it while she was reciting it to me.
Okay, very good. Right. So what you will do is, now let me just go over again, because I'd like to see how you respond to this. What I'm doing is modifying, at least here, and I'd like you to give me some feedback on how it feels. You've done the TARG scale before, but now I want you to... Oh, you haven't? Okay, so then...
But I get the general drift of ascendant confidence.
Yeah, okay. Where 3.5 is wagerable, and then it gets much better as you go up to a 4 and a 5. But I want you to add now the idea of gestalts. So do the confidence ranking like you normally would. We usually use a precept count where you count the matches. You put like a 0, a half, or a 1 next to every precept, and then you get a ratio of how many matches there were to the total. And that needs to be 50% to even get a CR of 3.5. But in addition, gestalts are now important. And you understand the concept of a gestalt, the big picture. If you were to look at, when you looked at your picture right now, there was something that hit you right away. It was the very first thing that, and it may be 2 things, generally not 3, but there may be that just hit you. not the details. It may be a big mountain, it may be an ocean with a ship on it, and you'd get ocean ship would be maybe 2 gestalts. Uh, remote viewers generally get those gestalts, and so I would like you to take that into account, and if there was a match of the gestalts at like the 50% level, you need that to get a CR of 3.5.
I don't understand how a gestalt can match a 50% level. It either matches it or doesn't match it.
Well, that's exactly right. But what if there were 2 or 3?
2 or 3 gestalts?
I
mean, a gestalt is a gestalt, isn't it?
Well,
I mean, in the case of
I know what you're saying.
In the case of Lori's transcript, it's unambiguous.
Yes.
But just so maybe there's no point in this session of getting into
well,
details.
No, but this whole idea of gestalts, and we've talked about it before, and in this context, it has a slightly different meaning, because you're right. Generally, you think of as gestalt as being only one, because it's what's the unifying feature of the picture. However, in remote viewing, again, imagine the example of a ocean scene with I hope this this isn't what you guys have, but an ocean scene with a cruise ship on it. Well, you could see how different people might see different gestalts. Some might see the big water, other might see the ocean ship. You see what I'm getting at? So you want to give a little leeway to the person, in fact, catching what is a potential gestalt. If they were to say either water or ship, you would give them credit.
Okay, I can see how that would grow with experience between a pair of 2, because a mountain with a blue sky behind it, could see that maybe for one person the gestalt was the blue sky.
Right.
Another person may see the gestalt as being the mountain.
And that's right. And
you just have to guess what looks like the most dominant thing for you, because you can't tell what's dominant for the other person.
That is right. And see, when you're self-judging, it's a little bit different, because oh, I guess I picked that up. Because remember, it's coming from the subconscious. And who knows how that communication channel works. In fact, that's what you're about to find out as you do this more and more. Okay, so having said that, now I would like to have the CRs put down, and for today, especially since there's so few of us, it'll be easy to talk about. What I want you to do is to give me the maximum side and the CR. If it's a pass, you could just say pass. Okay, so Julie is saying Gestalt is just on. Okay, so I see. Photo side B with the 5. So B, comma, 5. So a CR of 5 for photo site B.
Yes.
Okay, and Ted, anybody else do this? Let's see, did I miss you? Session, just fun practice.
Well, because I'm not, I haven't got experience at this. Yeah. I mean, I have it all written down. I've assigned ones, zeros, and halves to the various details, the attributes that I took down from her verbal description, and I think that I have to sum them all up, and I've got a certain number of hits out of N, and then that has to be 50% for it to count for 3.5.
On that, right. So one might be 70%, under the best conditions, one transcript match with A might be 70%, the other transcript match with B might be 30%. So that analytically shows you're leaning towards A rather than B.
Well, it's unambiguous to me whether I'm leaning towards A or B. That's 100% clear. But
Okay.
this confidence is, I mean,
Okay. Well, but shouldn't that
subjectively or
match?
emotionally, I would say it's B, clearly. But there's given a bunch of, she gave a bunch of images, and I'm not really sure if that's, fits into a standard that I'm unfamiliar with,
Well, the
like an array.
images have characteristics. Well, let me ask you this. Let's just focus on photo site A for a minute. The words and stuff that she said and the number of 0 and 1s for A, weren't they minimal, a lot less than B?
Oh yes, a lot less. It's unambiguously B, and
Yeah,
I
okay.
would have said,
Okay.
just
It
B.
sounds to
Period.
me.
End of story.
Okay.
But if I'm not sure the importance of the confidence rating that I'm supposed to give. That's the
Well,
only thing I'm stumbling on.
I understand, and people always differ by about 1. What is your ratio? Can you tell me roughly what the ratio is for B?
It's 5.5 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, she gave me 8 images, and so if each image is 1 out of an N,
Okay.
then I'm not really sure I grasp it.
That's a little over. It sounds like you did get over half, but just barely.
There
But
were enough anecdotal hits that were clear hits
exactly.
for me to
That
say
one more.
B.
Okay. Um, now, you're saying clear. I'm going to give it a 5 as well. Okay.
Well, that's what I wrote down was 5.
Okay. Okay. So here you are. Lori's transcript as judged by Ted is a 5. John's transcript as judged by Julie is a 5. Now let's go to the other side over here. And Julie, John, how did you judge Julie's transcript?
I give her a 3 on A.
So you're going to say it was a pass.
Yeah, I would pass.
Okay. And Lori, how did you judge Ted's? Oh, Ted may have connected, but
Ted only had 3 minutes to do it. He wrote, can I tell you what he wrote, or not?
Well, it sort of doesn't matter.
Well,
I don't know what the pictures are. So you're the judge. He did it quickly, but I can assure you, I've seen people do things in less than 3 minutes. The question is, did he match one photo well?
He drew a large rectangle, and then he had 3 lines of description. So it wasn't that much. It was.
Okay. So it doesn't match much.
Yeah.
Did it match? Did it match? Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
I would choose the B photo. I guess you don't want me to tell you why.
Well, no, what I do want you to tell me, no, you can tell me why now, but I would also want to.
He had open sight lines, lighter color, and silence.
Okay, I'm trying to decide if it would be strong enough. Based on that match, would you wager a few bucks on this?
No, it would be a pass.
Okay. Okay. And I understand. And it's like you said, he explained why he misinterpreted the amount of time he had. So that's fine.
Well, that said, I have done transcripts in 3 minutes or 4 minutes.
Right.
but I would have said it was more B than the busyness of A. But I probably would not put more than.
No, you have no way of knowing. She's looking at 2 different pictures than you saw.
Of course.
You see, that's the whole point of independent judging. You will never see those pictures, and that's why I don't want her to describe them or anything.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
That's what independent judges like, that they don't see it. Okay, So we have B here, and actually a leaning towards B, and you should know that the way this works, even though the pictures and everything are different, B here does mean the same as B here. I didn't tell you that before. I didn't want to front load you in any way, but that's why we call these things sides. Side B is associated, B picture will be associated with either the over or under in the same way that B over here will be. So they are pointing in the same direction. Okay, so I would say, okay, let's just stop for a minute before. The next step is I'm actually going to put in the prediction, the CRs, and we will get a prediction, and I'll actually do some wagering. Some of you like to see that because, you know, you're getting interested in doing it as well. But first, let me ask, do you get this? Do you now feel that you could go away with a partner and do independent judging in terms of the protocol?
Yes.
Okay.
But now I'm going to go back to that email I sent out, and John, thank you for the detailed answer. What I think kind of happens and what's showing up kind of in this dialogue, although I didn't talk, I tend to be conservative in my judging, and I think some people might look at John's and say a 6, or even, well, maybe not a 7. Anyway, there is kind of a getting to know you period. Isn't that correct?
I think that's absolutely correct. That's one of the differences with independent judges, and that's why setting up a partner like this, a regular partnership, becomes important, because after the outcome, when the judge and the remote viewer knows what the right answer is, the remote viewer now can say, how could you have only given that a 5? It should have been a 6, or should have been a 3.5, because this is what I meant by the word I used. You know, words are sometimes vague, and that's where you need to know each other.
Yeah, well, to add to that, okay, so I tried an independent judge twice when we were in Vegas. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting about it is that I would have judged my own differently, but I'm familiar with the kind of descriptives I use.
Right.
And when sometimes I pull these descriptives out of the blue that are like, what the heck is that? And it turns out that it does match the photograph, I'll put a higher score on that descriptive than I would say the color blue, which shows up almost constantly in every picture.
Well, look, that's an excellent point, and that's one of the reasons a lot of people use self-judging, because there's stuff like that that an independent judge just can't know, maybe ever. He can learn a lot about you, but, you know, he's never going to know quite the same, and he won't get quite the same feeling.
Wait on that. Marty?
Yeah, John? Uh-huh.
Oh, I was just going to say that, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're okay now.
I totally agree with that. I mean, the personal aspects are really important. So is self-judging. But if you would like to work with a partner, what you can do is when you have one of those feelings, you write it up in your session summary. You know.
Oh, good point. So that if I come up with something absolutely unique and bizarre, write down you can be unique. That's a really good point. Thank you. Yes.
Summaries are good for communicating things like that, but also the process of you writing it down, it has an organizing effect for your own process. So it's actually pretty interesting to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you.
Also, when you use the word surprise, you always want to let the judge know that, no matter what it is, because we all know that those surprises, when they come in from the subconscious, are usually gems. nothing is 100% in this business, but they're usually gems. It just has a different feeling about it. It's sort of the emotional impact kind of thing. Anyway, but you see, the things that you're saying about self-judging, other people just don't want to work on getting over seeing both pictures. They have embedded in them that that's too much of a problem. And those people are the ones who will want to do independent judging, and they have to work out just the things you're talking about with their judge.
Right. Now I have another question. I've read a lot, and I can't remember completely what I've read through the years on this, but like they had judging when they were doing and developing the early protocols on this, correct? Mm-hmm. They were using judges.
Independent judges, correct.
Okay, is there a lot written about that process of judging specifically? Because it seems to me that most of what I've read, and it could just be, anyway, that they talk about the protocol as to how to produce the transcript or the history of whatever, but I haven't thought I've really read that much about developing the judging process in those early stages. Like that might be helpful.
No, and neither have I, actually. What they did in the very early stages is they just ranked them. I'm not sure, not like confidence rankings. They would have a transcript and they would actually go to 9 sites, up to 9 sites, and they would rank all the transcripts in order. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. But whether the judges did anything similar to what we're talking about here, I've never read anything on that either, Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of interesting.
Well, it's crucial to the process if you're using it and you want a success rate. It's 1/3 of the process right there.
Well, yeah, and that's why we're working. And you even see this time I'm trying a new system. Ultimately, people come up with their own systems. Joe invented his own.
Yeah.
Targ has one using words. And he invented it. Actually, he did invent that back in that time frame. So not the very early one, but somehow you have to make a judgment about which one you think is the best match.
Yeah, on a shameless plug, that talk by John Herlosky at Vegas was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How to look at it. It really was a wake-up.
Yeah, that's the most, that's the most I've ever seen someone go into that kind of detail on just judging.
You mean the one in APP Fest in November?
Yep.
The most recent one?
I strongly recommend.
I watched it once, and I think we'll watch it again.
Yeah, I think it's worth the price of yearly membership. Have access to that. It's like, it's so important to the process, and he just drills down so deep into it. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was he did a really good job of giving for in general, but there were some things that he does that are rather specific. And if they resonate with you or something similar will resonate with you, I mean, it's just a great place to start. More detailed than, what we say about Targ or even Joe. It really is worth doing, as a baseline, and then you might want to modify it or not, but that's the baseline.
Yeah.
Okay, but you feel now that Lori and Ted, I know John doesn't really want to do independent judging, and I thank you for coming, John. But Lori and Ted, if you guys wanted to continue to do independent judging, you feel comfortable in knowing how to do it?
I think so.
Yeah, and you may even want to do it with each other. Now it turned out you guys were the partners. Okay,
Well,
but
we'll have to see about that. Yeah.
yeah, but I'll leave. If you have any more questions, you know that you can always get a hold of me via email. But
Well, you know, the alternative to independent judging is self-judging, and
right.
is that not what the WE site is somehow set up to do? Have I grasped that?
Yes.
But
Well,
but
the
how do
only
you do just like random practice on your own using that site? That wasn't at all clear to me by just
you can't do
following
random
through.
practice. You have to be tasked. So you have to be in one of these groups.
So you can't really do it unless you join a group. Then when you're in a group, then your practice kind of contributes to the events in the group, for better or for worse.
And the group manager understands that. He's new. He gets to see your transcripts and stuff like that. And the group managers want to teach you and make you better. So, you work with your group manager. And we want newbies to go in and do that. I mean, that's the whole point, really.
So you practice self-judging in the context of being a member of a group where the results of your judgment is passed to a group manager who may render like a wager or aggregate it with others also likewise participating in the group, and you get to know how it did and you see the stats and you move on through time just doing it over and over as often as some new tasking occurs, something like that.
That's exactly right. I would add just at least independent judges are the same way. You only get tasked for WE by a group manager. Now, we have on occasion had a person who was by themselves, but I don't really want to encourage that. It's just too much administrative stuff. So you need to join a group, but we have a wide variety of groups, and then you can be a self-judge or an independent judge through the group.
Okay.
And then the group manager makes judgments, including ignoring your transcript, because he gets to see everything, or not, in terms of placing a wager. But I always emphasize what the group manager does is very different than the individual one. He may go in a different way from you, and that's irrelevant, because all that matters is how your transcript works against your feedback target, because that was your tasking.
Right.
Okay.
So for practice purposes, you join a group, even though the group, you could care less what the focus of the group is. Like, I don't even know how to find a basketball game on TV, much less the rules for football, etc., etc. I don't know how to do sports betting. I don't know how to do commodities or Forex, but I'm a really good horse race gambler. So I would like to become better at just the process of doing transcripts and judging transcripts, and I don't really care what setting or what domain it would initially
be in. And you don't have to. I'm not a big sports person either, never was.
Okay.
I'm an ARVer. And in fact, you don't have to understand a darn thing about sports to join Carve. Julie, in fact, is a person who could easily put you in Carve. You should be in Teresa's group because she at least is doing something related to horse racing. And then that'll give you the practice you need. 2 groups. That'll give you up to 4 coordinates per week, because these go in once a week. So that'd be great for you.
Julie,
you want Julie to do that?
If I contact you?
Yeah, I'm writing you down right now, Lori, to put you into Carve.
Ted.
Oh, Ted. Oh, wait. Oh, Ted. Okay.
Sure.
Ted in Carve.
And first groove.
Oh, yes, in first groove yes, you'll like it. She does a fun one with color that you're going to have fun with.
What's Carve and what's first group, just out of curiosity? First
groove is the horse racing one, and it's run by Teresa.
Okay.
And Carve is run by Marty, and it's sports. It's whatever current sports is in. So if it's baseball season, it's baseball. If it's football season, it's football.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you
Lori
don't have
does
to,
some-
right, and you don't have to know a thing about sports to do
Yeah.
your ARVing. Okay, let me go on because I think we've done enough. And let me show you what the next step would be for even for you as doing this at either, as the viewer and as a judge. The next thing that happens is you've done your judging. Now, we saw that it was only Marty, but notice we go right back. I'm doing this now real. This is all live. So let me do this one. So let's do the Marty one first. Remember I came in two ways and we did one coordinate. Oh, I don't want you guys to see both pictures. Okay. Okay, I tell you what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, but I'm not going to show it to you because I don't want you to see both pictures, right? You understand that. So what I did was, so I think I can make this clear by picking up the appropriate page. Hold on, because I do want you to get this. Okay, I am right now on this page. And on this page, I've put one coordinate, and what I'm putting in right here is the name Marty. Oh, I better make sure it doesn't accidentally come up. I really don't want you to see this. I wonder how I can turn that off. Oh, I know what I'm going to have to do. Okay, I am going to have to make the screen. Okay, I'm not sharing the screen now, right? You guys are seeing a neutral screen of some sort?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to do what I said. I went to that. I'm going to that page now. And okay, so I'm here. And I'm putting in the Marty one, one coordinate. And I'm putting in, I have made, just because I do so many of these webinars where I am really not doing it, I put in what's called a dummy transcript. It's at this point where you would upload to the server the dummy transcript. So you saw that place to do that, and I'm now doing it for 367769. Okay, and I'm hitting submit. Okay, I'm not seeing it on the big page, so I'm seeing it on my other screen. So I can, now that I know that, I can turn on my screen again. So I am looking at this, and I want you to see this page again. Okay, so I put in my name here. I then get the picture up, this, but I'm now seeing on my screen the real picture. And now what I have to do is put in the CRs. Okay. Okay, now I lost it. I'm sorry. And I really don't want you guys to see it. Oh my, it looks like I somehow lost it. Huh. Wow. Okay, I'm trying to do too much here in making this clear. I'm going to go back and do it again. On my other screen, and I'm just going to do it. Okay, click here to receive your coordinate. Da-da. Yep, 3677. I'm putting in my dummy transcript. And I click here. Okay, I'm seeing it again. And I just want to verify the 3699 was indeed the B5. So under B, where we have this, there's a drop-down box. I'm putting in 5. And on the other, I'm just putting in 2. I'm writing comments here, which are independent judging webinar, and then I'm submitting it. Okay. Now, let me do, just because I'm here now, let me do the other one. So that one I went in as Marty Rosenblatt. Okay, now on my other screen I have that same thing, but now I'm going to go in as M. Rosenblatt. So a different viewer, the other partner, if you will. One coordinate. Yep, up came the other coordinate. I'm going to browse, just like you would have to do to put in the transcript. Now remember, I'm doing 2. You know, it turns out this is actually simple. Talking about it is harder. Oh yeah, I see the 2. And now I'm going to put in confidence rankings of a 2 and a 2. And again, I'm going to say independent judging webinar. Okay. So remember, we went through this with regular we. We have now made a prediction. And okay, so that's one of the emails. So now if I go into my inbox, I ought to see the predictions. Well, and look at that. So here, this is the stuff that comes to me. And let me go here. As the manager, I get the information. And here you can see 367769. There's the 5. And it actually says the side is over. So we have now made a prediction for over. The other one was a pass. And I don't know why. Oh, yeah, okay. In fact, here, I can show you. I got that as the group manager. You would get back this one, which says it's a pass. Okay, it doesn't have the picture on it. And notice this is for the M. Rosenblatt. The Marty one I could have showed you, and it would have said the same as this other one, which is the over. Okay, and I don't know if I have access to that one anymore, just to show it, but I think you get the idea. The viewer, actually it would be, since the judge and the viewer both need to share this information, you would both now know that on this one it was a pass, and I wonder if it's on the same. Well, and on the other one you would have had the information that it was an over, and you're done for this phase. So we have now done the remote viewing. Right? So we've done,
Marty?
yep. And
on a point on this, okay, so where you are right now,
yep.
If I'm an independent judge and I've gone in and I've taken the transcript back into the thing, just like you're saying, and given them numbers and then written down in the comments section what I believe to be the judging, and then push the send, and I came back with a result like what you do, over,
right.
Then because my partner who produced the transcript is not going to see that, I can send to my partner saying that the transcript shows, according to my judging, X.
Correct. In fact,
okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. The judge, remember early on I indicated it's the judge who actually makes the decision, if you will, about the wager. It's the judge who knows it first, and if he's an independent judge, he indeed must share that with the viewer. And I know some people just copy and paste that that page that said pass on it. Or it might say over.
Okay, so that's what I was also wondering. When that second page comes up that gives the judging along with the comments and the numbers and all that stuff, I could, or the judge could, send that to the person who produced the transcript, correct? That won't ruin the...
Correct. There's no picture on that. That was,
okay.
Yeah, that's why I was being so careful. But that last one that comes up does not have any pictures on it, so you could just tell them over, which is probably all they really care about if they want to wager.
Right.
And you could tell them what score you gave them at that time. That would also be on that page.
Okay.
And then when we do the feedback session, which is going to be Monday morning at 9, okay, Pacific time, we will actually know the outcome of the game. And then the viewers will see one and only one picture for their coordinate. And after they do their feedback session, we then will talk to each other. The viewers and the judges can talk to each other about why they did this, why they did that, etc. And so that becomes a big part of the feedback session and follow-up when you do independent judging, because as Julie indicated, you really want to know the viewer as a judge. And the viewer wants to feel confident that, in fact, the judge understands, when she writes down life form, does that mean plants as well as animals? There's just so many subtleties in this which need to be learned from the perspective of a relationship with an independent judge. Okay, I would just have this last one, which I like to show. All of this is really related to health, wealth, and wisdom. that's what keeps me going, is I just see all of this precognition, the consciousness, the depth of consciousness that we are touching and really expanding on, being just magnificent to be touching what are, I think, the biggest mysteries in our universe, in our conscious life.
Marty,
Mm-hmm.
before you go, Lori has written in the comments section,
Thank you, Judy,
asking what game that we're doing this for, what it is that we're predicting.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for asking that. And
John's also wrote into that too.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I said it at the beginning. I didn't make a big deal of it because from the ARV perspective, it doesn't matter. From the wagering perspective, I think I put it on the very first page. There it is. So it's the National League Houston Texans versus Green Bay Packers, Sunday at 10 o'clock Pacific time. Sunday you can watch NFL games from the morning to the evening.
Can I ask a question, Marty?
And we predicted, we just did it. Which way did I say we predicted?
I think you predicted over.
Thank you. We should write that down. Yes, a lot of people like to watch this stuff, Lori. Okay, I'm going to write this down. It was definitely over.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, wait. I'm going to go back. Wait, let's...
Well, you said
I think that's right. It's over.
side B and over, whatever that means.
Yes, okay. Yeah, and then... Yep. Okay, so it's over. And you know what side B means. That's because that was the photo choice, photo side B. And over is simply the total number of points in this game. The bookmakers, used to be called bookies, will come up with the point and they're willing to take a wager on each side. And so it's like a 50-50 proposition. And we're now saying the game will be over whatever they say when we choose. Oh, I said I was going to wager. I'm willing to wager now. Okay, let's see what the points are now. You guys staying with me?
Are we picking a
pretty
side?
much finished.
We
We did
picking a
over,
team?
and I'm going to show we chose over because photo site B was chosen actually randomly to be over. Okay. God, I've got too many of these open. Wait, let me get the smaller one. Okay, here. So I'm going to go to where I place wagers. I mean, the logic here is very straightforward. When I see 2 5s, the only way people could have done that well on it, right? It could be anything, was that they're going to see that Monday morning as their feedback. And that's why they did such a good job at describing it. Well, hell, I got 2 5s, and that association, the only way they'll see that is if over is the outcome of this NFL game. Okay? That's the only way they're going to see it, because B was associated with over by the computer randomly. We just found that out. But nevertheless, when we do feedback sessions and I give the actual outcome, it'll be associated with over at that time. And my expectation is that they're going to see that. If the game turns out to be under, you'll actually see the other photo that only the judge has seen. But this turned out to be so good that I am going to, so all I do is put in NFL, and okay, I didn't write down the game. Which is the game? I can find it again.
Houston Texans versus
Houston
the
Green
Green
Bay
Bay Packers on Sunday.
Packers. Okay.
On Sunday.
So that is this game right here. Interesting. Okay. Now, this is the over-under, where they say total, for total number of points. It's what we call over and under, and it's now at 45. When I chose the game, I actually chose it because it had a half associated with it. So let me explain to you what happens if the total number of runs is 45. We're going to do over anyway, but if the total runs is 45, that's called a push. And any wager that I do, I'll get my full money back. And it turns out everybody is a winner under that condition. It happens rarely, probably less than 10% of the time. But anyway, I'm going to go over. The up arrow indicates, I don't know how much you can see this, but the up arrow indicates that that's the over wager. So I just hit continue. And I typically have been betting 10%. I'm going to bet a little bit more on this. I'm going to bet maybe $70. Continue. And there it is. Houston Texans versus Green Bay Packers, over 45. And I'm risking 73 to win 70. That difference is what the bookie makes, basically. That's how they stay in business, and I think their business is fine. So, and that shows you how good they are at choosing the 50-50 point. They would make this difference, something like it, no matter which way I went. So now I'm going to confirm the bet, and there you are. So I have now wagered, and 45 is the line, and that's the line we will use based on the game and the feedback for Monday. So thank you for asking that question. That really is the appropriate way to end this, unless there are any other questions, because we've done the viewing, we've done the judging. The judging leads to a prediction. Wagering, in my opinion, is actually the fourth leg of ARV. You know, we always talk about the three, the remote viewing and the feedback being key, the judging in between, but wagering is another whole area that's worth paying a lot of attention to. I come from the place now where I basically set up a bankroll kind of idea, how much I'm willing to lose, worst case scenario, and it won't mean anything significant to me. You know, never should risk more than you feel comfortable with, is how I feel about this. So, you know, and then I say wager wisely and get rich over the long term. And with what I believe is a real edge that we have, the way I basically wager is 10%, and then I modify that a little bit based on my feelings. Like this one I felt really good about. And so, you know, listening to the words that the judges used, both of them made it really clear that there was one really good match. And so I was willing to wager a little bit more than my 10% of my sport pot. I really pay more attention to financials than I do sporting, but I keep the sporting one up for webinars like this. Okay, any other questions, comments? I'm looking at the chat box, I know.
Marty, I would say that I feel pretty confused about the logistics of the WE protocol, because in the end, you did a bunch of stuff with email. You did a bunch of stuff with like loading images in a box, which we didn't see and which I don't have like a kinesthetic experience of doing. So that part is all pretty opaque. I mean, what I did is I did a remote viewing session. I saw something out in the matrix. I wrote it down. I had it judged. I submitted it, and I did all that, which I am familiar. You know, so those basic legs of the whole process I'm familiar with. But this new protocol, new to me, protocol called WE is still opaque.
Okay, and the assumption
gonna,
here
you know,
was that you knew at least, I guess, more about WE than you do. But I can see this was not training for WE by any means. It was training for independent judging. However, now that you're in Carve, and also First Groove, the first thing you will get is that link. And if you go step by step there are really instructions on every single page. And remember, it starts, plus ask me questions. I want you to get comfortable with this, okay? But it'll start with an email to you just like this. You will get one from the Carve group. You will get one, and it'll say Carve here. That's how you'll know. It'll say it in the subject line. And the other one will say First Groove. When you click here, you'll go through just like we did here. The next thing that's going to happen is you're going to get this. Go off, do your remote viewing session, forget about everything else, do a great session, and then upload it. And that may be the first time you might have a question.
From previous webinars, and I have that page, you know, already that we have access to that. So that part's clear. It was just the whole round trip that we attempted to do here was a little choppy, and at least for me. So I will.
Right.
Can I suggest something possibly? Ted, Marty put out 2 webinars in the last like 3 months.
Yeah, I got those too, and I'm having a difficulty actually making them go for one reason. The only YouTube that doesn't work well is some of Marty's YouTubes, and so I struggled through them for the last couple of days, but you know it just.
Would you mention that to Shane? Would you mention that to Shane for me, please? You're going to talk to him.
I will.
Yeah, because he's.
I went back to the 2014 introductory things as well, and I think there were supposed to be 2 of them, like a before and an after, but I only could really find the before. So I was hoping that
the after link you have to look is. It turns out I had problems with YouTube there. Let me just say this to you, and really just do this. Do it. It looks complicated because, as you said, we had to go through a lot of steps. Do one step at a time, and you'll be able to get through it. And then I think after you do that once, maybe twice, what you're going to find is it's easy. Those of us, you know, who've been doing this now, you just get used to it and it's easy. So just do it one step at a time. Like you're going to go here, go to the next step, upload, go to what it says is the next step. If you get hung up at any one step, email me.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're having any trouble, Lori. No, you've been doing this for a while, so I think by this time, hopefully, it's pretty straightforward for you.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Thanks.
Yeah. And that's the way it becomes. Where we want you to spend your time is doing your remote viewing and your feedback sessions. Okay, anything else we should discuss? Any other comments?
I was going to comment, Marty, on just a feeling I've had through past webinars. It seems that I mean, we both know that judging is a difficult process, but it seems to me that a lot of people need more examples on judging accurately. Mm-hmm. So just in the future, maybe tomorrow or at some point in the future, more on maybe you could judge a target and we could watch, and then they can comment, something like that.
Do you have any good transcripts that you've done? I'd love you to do this, John. You've been around long enough and know this, that, you know, I shouldn't be the only one presenting this stuff.
Okay.
Other people. Why don't you think about it? If you could put together a presentation on judging, that would be terrific. Because as I said, when you do the feedback, one of the things you always do is review the judging part of it. So anyway, if you can do something like that for Monday, that'd be great. I think I lost you.
No, I can, I'm just trying to think of how I would do it. I could probably pull up an old session and then mark it up, something like that, or we can just go over it.
We did a webinar where I had people turn in marked up sessions. I don't know if you turned one in that time or not.
Oh, okay.
There are a bunch of marked up sessions, or at least for me, on that Facebook page that Teresa posted for the Las Vegas event.
Oh, you know what? That's a great idea. I haven't gone to the Facebook thing.
Some passes, some hits. It's a mishmash.
Okay. I just don't have time this weekend. This is a really busy family weekend for me. And that's what I save my weekends for. During the week, I put in a fair amount of time, as you all know, but on weekends, family. So, okay, that would be great, John. We have plenty of time, so you'll be able to do whatever you feel makes sense on judging. So we'll look forward to that. Okay, so with that, I think I will end this. I thank you all for coming, and I'll see you Monday morning, 9 o'clock Pacific time, same link, etc. Take care and have.
Thanks, Marty.
You're very welcome, and have a great weekend. And keep precogging.